It's Ali Drew here for BoxNation, powered by Global Next Trades, and I am joined by Mr. Frank Warren. We've just had the press conference here in Liverpool. It's a huge week here, and it was a very calm press conference, but a bit of an intense face-off at the end.
Yeah, neither of them wanted to give. I had to, in the end, stop it because otherwise I think we'd still be there. Not prepared to give an inch. But that's what this fight's going to be. You know, they've both got tremendous work rates, so you know it's going to be all action. It's going to be exciting. It's a mandatory defence. It's not an opponent that we picked. You know, Brandon, two-time former world champion, 2 different weights. So he's a very accomplished fighter. Never been stopped. So it's going to be an interesting night.
Yeah, and you've spoken for a long time about bringing big fight nights back to Liverpool and the sort of next generation of Liverpool fighters, because we've seen such a rich history here in Liverpool of fighters coming out of this city. And now we've got those next generation of fighters, you know, full to the brim on this card. How difficult is it to pick who goes on cards like this? You know, obviously Nick Ball for his 4th defence of the world title, but it must be tricky to sort of get those slots in, because there's so many good fighters in this city.
Well, they are, but it got neglected a bit, and I think, you know, through Nick, he's been sort of standard bearer. He spearheaded it, and this is his 4th defence, and we was determined to bring big-time boxing back here, which we've done. But looking at some guys there, like Andrew Kane, you look at young Jack, you look at Brad Strand. I mean, there's a wealth of talent up here, and they're all vying to be the next big thing. So it's great. We know we're going to get a great atmosphere here. We're in a real proper old-style fight city. It's a fabulous night on Saturday.
And you must be getting excited as Nick Ball's promoter. The win on Saturday night, if he gets the win, what it leads him on to, the talk of the unification fights, the talk of fighting some of the greatest fighters that we've got at the moment. I mean, you must be thinking, he's probably not thinking beyond this fight, but you must be getting excited about those opportunities.
Well, I'm excited about him anyway. Pound for pound, he's the best British fighter. Could you imagine if he was a heavyweight? You know, he's an unbelievable fighter. He's got a lot of skill, which people don't give him credit for. He should be unified champion. That draw he got in Saudi, he won that fight. But look, there's belts to be unified. He's got to get through, obviously, Saturday. If he comes through it, that's what the mission will be, to unify the belts. He wants to fight a newie. There was a lot of talk about last year. We will see now whether that's going to progress or not. But first of all, as I say, he's got to go with Saturday night.
And I think it was Tyson Fury that said there's a reason why Nick Ball's 5'3", because it would be scary if he was a heavyweight.
And you know he's a very wise man, Tyson.
But let's talk away from this fight, where you've got a busy first half of 2026 for Queensbury. So many shows have been announced. I mean, it's actually almost week in, week out. You've got stuff coming up, and there's some really exciting fights on the horizon.
Yeah, we kicked it off in style and bringing big-time boxing back to Germany, sell-out showdown. Unfortunately, Moses' show got postponed due to his injury. That's on the 28th of March in Manchester. That's nigh on sold out. We've got a fabulous night in Dublin. Again, you know, cracking fight on that card there with Anthony Kakashi and Jazza Dickens. So that's a really good fight. And Pierce O'Leary with Mark Chamberlain. Really, really great card. The debut of our young Irish heavyweight, I think, is going to set the world on fire. That, as I say, sold out there. We've announced we've got that Sharp in Derby with a lot of our young talent. That's nigh on sold out. We're announcing the heavyweight fights. We've got some great heavyweight fights coming up in the next few weeks, which we'll be letting everybody know what they are. That'll be Daniel Dubois. That will be Fabio defending his title. That will be Lawrence Okoli. Then we've got the fight that the WBO put out between Hamza Shiraz and the German. So that'll be on. Denzel Bentley's got a title fight, which we'll be announcing. There's so much going on. Sam Noakes coming back, and I'm missing a few more, but some really, really great shows and big fights coming up.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the ones that have been announced. So Derby, obviously, you said the young talent, getting the opportunity to headline in their own right and getting the opportunities for belts. And they should be great fights. Often, they're some of the best fights that we see. They're up and comers. They're trying to make their name.
Well, that's it, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? They want it's the next generation. You want to see them come through. They want to show what they're all about. A bit like the undercard on Saturday here. The young bucks coming through on there. So that's what boxing's all about, and it's about development, bringing talent through. We're good at doing that, and we work at every level, and I love those type of shows. They're what the game's all about. Finding, spotting, developing young talent, and taking them to the next level.
And then we moved to Dublin, and that fight between Anthony Kakachi and Jazza Dickens, fantastic fight. And it's almost like a second win for both of them in their careers at the moment. They're both doing incredibly well, having faced setbacks earlier on.
Yeah, well, Anto just, to be honest, I'm not talking out of school. He just did not take his career too seriously. And when he did and knuckled down, he showed what he was about. Everybody thought really so much of him as a talent, and we was all hoping he wasn't going to be one of those talents that were wasted. But he's got, he saw the light, and he's shown what he's all about. Jazz has done brilliantly, but I think Jazza was a youth champ. Yeah, so he's got real good pedigree, and he's done the business with that PA title. So that's a great fight.
And one that has to be mentioned on that undercard, Pierce O'Leary and Mark Chamberlain. What a fight that is going to be.
Well, that's got fight written all over it, hasn't it? That's going to be a really, really good fight, and I'm looking forward to that.
Definitely. And obviously, you mentioned it, young Irish heavyweight making his pro debut on that card. And just another heavyweight to add to your stable.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward. He will become a hero. I really do think he's got what it takes, and he'll be brilliant. And I'm looking forward to it. This is his debut.
Yeah, that's Adam Olangian. Yeah. And he is, he's only 19, I think, still so young, but he's got huge ambitions, talking about, wanting to become world champion undisputed. And presumably he's looking at all the other young heavyweights you've got in your stable as thinking, well, their potentials.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about developing their careers, making these fights, and there'll be winners, there'll be losers. It's not the end of the world for losers, as Derek Chisora showed yesterday. 13 losses on his record, but he's still going and fighting. These are exciting times for British boxing. Really exciting times, and it's very popular with the public. The Zone are doing a brilliant job, and we're glad that we're sort of involved in it in a big way, and bringing some of these youngsters and showing them to the world. Moses, we're on in Manchester on the 28th of March with him. That's a cracker of a fight, and it's a shame he got his injury, but again, we're looking forward to that one. Great undercard, that magnificent format is always a great night's boxing. Fabulous fights. So again, just a busy time.
Then we move on to the experienced heavyweights, shall we say, where back-to-back weeks you've got Chisora Wilder, and then the following week Tyson Fury's return. Let's just talk about Chisora Wilder first. And obviously we saw them yesterday doing interviews, press conferences, and we did see, I presume you would have seen it, Wilder with Simon Jordan. Oh, yeah. And the kick-off there. What did you make of what he had to say in that whole situation?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. I've heard about it. It is what it is. He take exception to a question that was asked.
Yeah, I think he didn't want Fury mentioned.
Oh, well, we mentioned him at the press conference. You can't say you're not going to mention it. That's your history. That's part of it. But anyway, I'm more interested on the fights that are actually happening in the ring. And him and Derek, you've got two guys there in their 40s. Old adage, we always say, the loser, where does he go? But at that age, where does the loser go? It's going to be all over for the fellow who comes second, and it'll be exciting. These guys, they're different fighters now. They rely on their boxing brain and the skills that they've learnt over the years, rather than the speed that they may have had because of the age they're at. And the styles they got are quite similar in that they both walk forward. Both good punchers. You know, Deontay's, statistically, he's the hardest punching heavyweight, I think, of all time, according to what I'm being told. But whatever it is, you know, as soon as that bell goes, they're going to take the central ring, they're going to walk forward, and they're going to let those bombs go. And it'll be bombs away. And when one of them explodes, it's going to be lights out, because that fight is not going the distance.
Yeah, it's going to be. It can't disappoint, can it?
No, it won't disappoint, because they won't be able to get out of the way. They won't be able to get out of the way.
And then we go on to the return of Tyson Fury. We weren't sure if it was going to happen. You might have known all along, but no one knows.
Well, I never, because it was his decision. I've never once picked up the phone or spoke to him and said, come on, let's come back. I've never done that. It's his decision. And he's been training, you know, he's keeping himself well, because he does that because it helps him mentally.
Yeah.
But now he's in fight mode, he's training for a fight, and he's really up for it, and he wants to get back and show that he's the best heavyweight out there. And he's not picked an easy opponent for a time he's had out the ring. It's going to be interesting.
Some exciting times ahead, especially in the heavyweight division.
It's exciting. The heavyweight division, I keep telling everybody, is on fire. On fire.
And so is boxing in Liverpool, so a great fight week ahead.
We're in a fight city, and we're going to get a fight on Saturday night that you're not going to believe.
Thanks, Frank.
Pleasure.